Silverman asked us to state why we differ from those who disagree with us. And so I'm going to focus on that. You should have my printed testimony with you, and it has a lot of detail about what the plan does and the specific language in it and why it upsets me. But okay, how do I differ? The plan does not include a whole lot of discussion about affordable housing. It talks about the problem, it gives it lip service, but it doesn't address affordable housing. Except to say that, okay, we're going to put more affordable housing in industrial zones. It does say that. And I'm sorry, that's just not the way the city ought to behave. It should not put people at a site where access to good schools and other good services are not present. I mean, that's not an approach to affordable housing. The other thing it doesn't do is it doesn't specifically say, gee, we need policies and we need legislation that is going to direct affordable housing to those people at 30% to 50% AMI. There's still way too much so-called affordable housing coming out at 80% AMI. That's not addressing the problem, and this document needs to come out very hard on that in whatever way it can. There's also a lot of giveth, what I call giveth and taketh away language, where at one point it says, gee, stability is important and neighborhoods are important, but these zones don't have to be strictly followed. So, you know, they're giving lip service, but they're taking it away when it gets down to the details. That's a big problem. The last thing I wanted to mention is the ability to appeal a zoning commission decision. This generally, am I taking a word that they like in this plan? It seems to me that this proposal would take away my right to go to a court if the zoning commission rules against me as an affected property owner. Now put yourself in the position of being the District of Columbia, either the council or the government. And suppose the federal government were to say, well, we're going to do something you don't like that affects you, but you can't go to the courts to resolve it. I think you guys would be very, very quickly very upset, and you'd be objecting. You're trying to do, or this proposal attempts to do the same thing to us, and it should not be permitted. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Sir, we need order in the chamber. Mr. Whitehead?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the DC Council. My name is David Whitehead, and I'm the Housing Program Organizer at Greater Washington and a resident of Edgewood in Ward 5. For the past 10 years, Greater Washington has been bringing people together online and offline to discuss, organize, and advocate for Greater Washington, D.C. region for all people. Through our volunteer-driven news website, we share information and analysis about issues affecting the growth and development of our region. We also organize our readers and supporters to take action on land use, transportation, and public policy issues. In 2016, we began organizing around the comprehensive plan in the context of what we believe is a shortage of homes and affordable homes in the district. We gathered a broad coalition of housing and development stakeholders to discuss and propose amendments to the comprehensive plan. This group, many of which you will hear from today, comprises of policy organizations, nonprofit developers, for-profit developers, tenant and low-income housing advocates, faith and community groups. While we don't agree on everything, we all fundamentally agree that the comp plan should be a tool that helps DC create more homes, create more affordable homes, and protect residents from displacement. In 2017, our group, the DC Housing Priorities Coalition, published a list of 10 priorities for the comp plan. To date, over 500 DC residents have signed in support of this list, including 80 organizations, 9 ANCs from 7 different wards. Today, you will hear from over 80 coalition members and supporters who are here to testify that the framework element before passed must address 3 of these particular priorities. First, we need more housing. We are a city of 700,000 residents, and we continue to welcome nearly 800 new residents every month. This presents a fundamental land use challenge to the district, which has a height limit, only about 60 square miles of land, and few remaining large and vacant sites. We need enough homes for all these new residents, and all parts of the district need to participate in making room. We currently are not meeting that demand, and recent legal issues with our planning processes have made the situation even worse. Second, we need to prioritize affordable housing. Simply building market rate homes does not produce a district that treats all socioeconomic groups equitably. Studies have shown that we need more than 26,000 homes affordable to residents making at or below $16.50 an hour. The absence of these homes means residents today are forgoing other necessities to pay rent or simply leaving the district. Finally, we need a stronger comp plan on displacement. The threat of displacement is urgent. Across the district, low-income households are being outcompeted for affordable housing and displaced by higher-income households. At the same time, we are hemorrhaging affordable homes, including those that are naturally affordable under rent control or are subsidized by the district or other federal funding. The framework element in particular is silent on this issue. Out of the 60 pages the Office of Planning has proposed, there is literally only 2 sentences that discuss the problem of displacement. Our coalition has drafted amendments attached to my testimony that we believe fix these issues with the framework element. I ask you to amend the current bill before you and then pass it, as these issues do have urgency. We need to address the legal questions that have left thousands of homes and affordable homes stuck in a courtroom, but we also need to empower the Zoning Commission and advocates to fight for more affordable housing and projects and establish rules with teeth about displacement in our land use and planning processes. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions about these proposed amendments or any other part of my testimony, and as possibly the first yellow sticker up here, I'm happy to talk about that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehead. Mr. Alpert?
Thank you, Chairman Mendelson and members of the Council. My name is David Alpert, and I am founder and executive director of Greater Washington. My colleague David Whitehead just testified about our coalition and specific amendments. We ask that the Council amend and pass this bill. I wanted to take my time to speak about some of the bigger currents underlying our city's growth. Many ask questions like, housing for whom? I would pose an equally important question, housing near whom? So let's start with housing for whom. You have heard about the acute need to create and preserve affordable housing and protect tenants from displacement. We cannot move forward without clarity in the comprehensive plan about this need. DC is projected to reach 1 million residents. Who are those residents? Is this a million-person city of opportunity for all, with people of all colors, incomes, and backgrounds? I hope so, but we need thoughtful, dare I say, comprehensive planning to get there. Housing decided by whom? Other witnesses and people in this debate have spoken about the need for community input in land use decisions. I agree, communities should have robust opportunities to weigh in on changes that affect them. However, we also need a process where, after due consultation, a decision can be made and a process can move forward. Mr. Chairman, you've talked frequently about your record passing legislation through this council. You ensure everyone has a say, but then at the end of the day, you need to find a path to pass a bill. You are probably pleased that this council does not have a filibuster like the U.S. Senate. That is what the recent spate of lawsuits amount to, a filibuster on needed new homes. A few people can delay or halt even something which has had robust community input and support. This council listened carefully to all perspectives on the McMillan development and made a decision. That was filibustered. The St. Joseph Seminary project, which had strong ANC support, family-sized homes, and deeply affordable ones, was filibustered. Rhode Island Avenue Shopping Center with many community benefits, filibustered. Is a land use system where no matter the community support, anything can be filibustered, really good government? Finally, housing near whom? We need more affordable homes, but who will be their neighbors? Unfortunately, we commonly hear, not here. We heard this with the homeless shelters, where after, Mr. Chairman, you identified a site and the council, some Ward 3 neighbors protested and sued. They said their treasured community was not the right place for homeless families. Where is? And what about working residents with low incomes? If we accept the idea that any resident should be able to filibuster any new neighbors, there will soon literally be no place for people to go. I support strong community involvement in these decisions, but we cannot simply say, put it somewhere else. I do not think our PUD process is perfect. The comprehensive plan is too vague. We can start by adding clear priorities for affordable housing and protections against displacement to the framework, and then work together and with the Office of Planning on the rest of the plan. And meanwhile, we need to let new homes, new affordable homes, homes built without displacement, with community input and community benefits, to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm so pleased, Ms. Green. Thank you for your testimony. So you have a white sticker on. I do. You have both Mr. Whitehead and Mr. Alpert have yellow stickers. You both talked about affordable housing. So back to my question and Councilmember Che's question about clarity. So where do you disagree in the comprehensive plan on how we should approach affordable housing? Yeah. Any three of you.
Well, please go ahead.
Clarity
The clarity is simply not there, in this proposal. I mean, anywhere. It's well.
What do you want to see when it comes to affordable housing in the comp
I
plan?
absolutely want to see the emphasis on 30 to 50%.
Okay.
I absolutely want to see the emphasis on family-sized housing.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely want to see a rethink of this issue that we can plop a lot of affordable housing in industrial zones.
Mm-hmm.
But more to the point, I'd like to see a real emphasis on stability, on maintaining the character of a community. I happen to live in a neighborhood that was extraordinarily stable, a historic district, and it's under great pressure from inappropriate, large-sized development.
So you live in Tacoma neighborhood?
Yeah,
Ms. Green?
Tacoma.
So let me just say, and the two Davids can tell me if I'm wrong, is that their argument is you live near a metro, you live in a desire, you talked about people having equal access to good schools. I think you have Tacoma Education Campus and Whittier, which are becoming higher performing schools.
Right.
And I imagine the argument of the yellow stickers is going to be, why shouldn't we put more density and more housing in your neighborhood?
You can, is my answer.
Okay.
You can, but I don't like to, but what is being proposed is way out of proportion. It is way out of proportion to single-family homes that are across the street. Also, if you want to use the Tacoma Metro Station site, which might as well. Right.
Okay, sure.
That next door to the Metro Station, going up the hill on Eastern Avenue, we have some very, very affordable existing housing. And the pressure, if you're going to put a lot of housing on the Metro site, if you're going to, it's going to be expensive housing, the pressure is going to be to tear down that stable affordable housing as it is. So we're looking for stuff that is right-sized.
As the clock is running down, I'm going to give Mr. Alpert and Mr. Whitehead a chance to speak. And with your yellow sticker, I'm going to ask you, is the problem giving people access to the courts or who has standing in the courts?
Thank you, Councilmember Silverman. And you did, in fact, characterize our argument about Tacoma very well. When I hear stability and protecting neighborhoods, about affluent neighborhoods with, as you said, good schools, good transportation access, what I hear is that we do not want to implement policies that open up those neighborhoods to people of low incomes who don't have the ability to live in them today. The Department of Housing and Urban Development has said that we are in violation of federal law by not having enough opportunities for people of lowest incomes to live in high opportunity areas, and also by not investing sufficiently in our low income areas that have not been invested in. Both of those are things that we are doing that is in violation. So we can say, oh, we want that my neighborhood is wonderful the way it is, but I live in the DuPont Circle neighborhood and I think it's not wonderful because it's far too segregated. And there are not enough opportunities for people who don't have as much money as I do to be a part of our excellent school. To answer your question about the legal issue, I think it's, if I understand your question correctly, I think it is about not so much the standing as the outcomes in the courts. The courts have been shown readiness to overturn projects which have had significant community support and significant community consultation. And Ms. Green said in her testimony earlier that if she disagrees with something, she'd like to be able to go to court and stop it. Now, everyone has the right to go to court, but I think it's not the legal system we want if one person doesn't like a decision that's made by the government, that they can have the right to stop it. That's not the system we should have.
Okay, I'm out of time. Hopefully, maybe Ms. Green, you'll be given a chance to respond.
Thank you, Councilmember Silverman. Councilmember Robert White.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I won't ask too many questions, but this really is a good panel for understanding where I have some confusion. And Ms. Green and Mr. Whitehead sitting next to each other conveniently have colorful names. So I'm trying to hold it because through your testimonies, I could not No, you should not run for the council. I could not distinguish where you differed based on your testimonies. But here's a scenario based on Councilmember Silverman's question that I think might help clarify for all of us. If there is a plot of land in the district, in the neighborhood where you live, and we could build 1,000 units and 600 of them be affordable, really affordable, would either of you oppose it?
It would depend on what the surrounding neighborhood looks like. I
Okay.
think there's a lot of space in the District of Columbia to put affordable housing that is within character of its neighbors.
All right, and so, and I want to make sure, 'cause again, this is just for clarity. So for the white stickers, neighborhood character is first priority and building of affordable housing is second priority? I'm asking, please. I'm trying to understand the
No, I
distinction.
understand.
So I think that is one of the real disagreements is about
they
how we
equal priority?
order these priorities. I mean, I think as David testified earlier, like I have concerns about words like stable neighborhoods and all the different words about protecting neighborhood character. I think those can be misused in a way that